All right, guys, part two. Or I work at Dinty's, right? Yeah. Did you get your pizza yesterday, Ivan? No, I didn't. I just ate food upstairs to save money, right? I ate like rice and beef. That's it. Rice and chicken, and today I'm just gonna eat food at home. I'll eat the chicken and the rice and. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Ivan, is VJ a good girl deep down inside? Of course she is. She's God. She's even though Victoria Justice is a whore, obviously. Deep down inside, she is a good woman. Obviously, there's. It's kind of like Vader. You know how Vader turns to the dark side, but like Luke is like there's still some good. No, I hate you. I'm saying yeah, there's still some good in him. Yeah, obviously, Victoria Justice is a whore, but deep down she is a sweetheart, and she's a good girl deep down, but she's just a whore, and she caves into her sexual urges, obviously. Yeah. And that's a symbolism, and there's also some symbolisms of Star Wars in my life too. Obviously, Anakin makes a deal with the devil, and he goes to the dark side to save Padme. To save Padme, right? Yeah. It's like Ivan O'Mara goes to the dark side to save VJ. The gatekeepers turned me into a sex slave. A sex slave to save my wife. Yeah. Into a sinner, a man whore, like Victoria Justice was in Hollywood right now. He was like, yeah, I caught that. Yeah, Anakin makes a deal with the devil. Um, Palpatine. And Palpatine takes Anakin's soul, and Anakin goes to the dark side for love, to save Padme. To try to save Padme from death, obviously, right? There's some symbolism there. Yeah. But even though Anakin went to the dark side for love, there was always Anakin is the only Sith that went to the dark side, who went to the dark side for, like, even though what he did was bad, he went to the dark side for an understandable reason, obviously, because he thought Padme would die. He wanted to unlock his powers to save her from death. That's why he went to the dark side for love. But in doing so, it corrupted him, and hence why when he met Padme, he's like, we can rule the galaxy, yeah, because the dark side corrupted his mind, his the way he thinks, and he became corrupted, obviously. So sorry. But Anakin is the only one who had good in him. Even when he was Vader, Anakin always had a little bit of good in him. He always had, even though he became evil, he's the only one who had the good was always in Anakin. He always had some good in him, Anakin. That's why Luke was able to bring him back to the light in Return of the Jedi, right? He was like, yeah, I have a good point. Yeah, good point. It's like, even though they're gonna turn me into a porn star, I'm now becoming a man whore like Victoria Justice. That good Ivan, yeah. obviously. And you guys remember in Star Wars when Anakin he went to the what's that planet? The lava planet, obviously, and he wiped out the Viceroy and everything, and you saw him, he had tears going down his eyes. The reason why he had tears going down his eyes because he remembered that innocent boy who was in Tatooine was not it's no longer that guy. He's now a different man. When I pay the fee, I'm guaranteed gonna cry because I'm gonna remember the innocent Ivan who was a holy virgin, and now I'm not that virgin anymore. I'm now a man whore who's a porn star fucking thousands of women. I'm not the same Ivan anymore, man. The gatekeepers, I made a deal with the devil. The gatekeepers, they took my soul, man. That's why Victoria Justice ran away with me once by the fee because the gatekeepers took her husband's soul. They turned a good man into a horrific sinner because they're wicked people, man. Yeah, man. You all are wicked people, yeah. So I'm sorry. He was Ivan. Good point. Yeah, I know. I know how to blow your mind away, guys. I'm very gifted. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Give me a second. I have to use the bathroom. I'll be back in a sec. Hope you guys enjoyed this show. Alright, you guys, I'm back. And he was like, yeah, Ivan, I caught that. Yeah, in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Anakin goes to the Anakin makes a deal with Palpatine, who's like he's a devil, obviously, and Palpatine takes his soul, and Anakin does horrible deeds to supposedly unlock his powers, and in that scene, there's a scene when Anakin he has a tear flowing down his eyes, because that man, that innocent boy in Tatooine is no longer that boy is gone, man. He's now another man. Well, the Ivan the Mare, who's now a virgin, holy saint, when I pay the fee, that Ivan is not the same Ivan. He's not the same Ivan. Hence why when I pay the fee, I will be crying. Because the gatekeepers turned me into a sinner, man. I'm a man whore now, fucking out, like 10, 12,000 women in Hollywood. Yeah. Obviously. Because I'm pretty sure Victoria Justice, sometimes she cries tears because before Victoria Justice sold out, she wasn't that woman. She was a good girl, and now she's a whore. The gatekeepers turn her into a wicked sinner. And they're going to turn her husband into a wicked sinner too. That's why Victoria Justice reminded me once I pay the fee. Because you turned both I and Victoria Justice into sinners, man. You guys are wicked people, man. Yeah, I want to make you guys pay because we envy your relationship. Yeah, that's why I'm piecing the fuck out once I pay the fee, and you're left behind. You're not safe. You go deserve. Don't hate them, yeah. Some Sarah. Yeah. 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 Yeah, and I remember that scene in Revenge of the Sith when Anakin was crying. Yeah, he had a tear falling out of his eyes because he knew that innocent boy in Tatooine was gone. That's not the same Anakin. He was gone. Yeah, he tapped into the dark side and he did unspeakable things to supposedly unlock his powers to save Padme, but the whole thing was a lie, obviously. Palpatine didn't give a shit about Padme, right? All he cared about was just having Anakin be his apprentice. Palpatine didn't care about Palpatine, but he manipulated Palpatine into thinking that he could unlock his powers to save Padme. But Palpatine didn't give a shit about Padme, obviously. That's why in the end he's like, by your anger you killed her. Yeah, Palpatine didn't give a shit about Padme. He's a devil, man. He manipulated Anakin. Yeah. I have the power to save the one you love. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's a liar. And Mace Windu was like, don't listen to him, Anakin. Yeah. Don't listen to him, Anakin. Yeah. Samsara. Yeah. Yeah, Ivan, that scene when Anakin cried in Revenge of the Sith is because of he knew yeah, the innocent boy in Tatooine is not he's not that innocent boy anymore. He's now what? He's now evil. Obviously, just like when I paid the fee, I'm no longer that innocent Ivan, holy virgin Ivan Amara, or if I have a girlfriend, but I'm no longer that innocent virgin Ivan Amara. I'm now someone else. They turn me into a sinner, into a man whore, into a sex slave, into a porn star. Fucking thousands of women, and Ivan will mess up too when he pays the fee because I'm now a man whore and I have my sexual urges that I don't have right now. Because right now I don't have the sexual urges. Yeah. Are your hormones through the roof? Oh yeah, my hormones are through the roof because I never touched a chick in 30-something years. Obviously, but I can fight off the hormones. Because I see many attractive chicks, and sometimes I have that thought, oh my god, I'd bang this chick, but I don't do it. I just repel them, but I will get my girlfriend. I'm not gonna let me do that. No way. A fucking cheating whore, that woman. Yeah. Not let me do that, Ivan. She's a cheating whore. Don't hate this in the air. Sarah? Yeah. 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 Alright, is Anakin the most powerful Jedi? In terms of potential, he is. But because he has arrogant, he's arrogant and everything, it could what? Yeah. Because Anakin even has a higher midichlorian count than Yoda, which means had Anakin not went to the dark side, he would have surpassed even Yoda and Mace Windu in terms of power levels, obviously. But because he's arrogant, that can also affect his learning abilities, everything. You know what I'm saying? Because he's very arrogant. Whereas Yoda is not arrogant. He's a smart fighter. He's very wise and smart. But Anakin even has a higher midichlorian count than even Yoda, which means Anakin's potential was unlimited, man. Obviously. Yeah. So in terms of potential, Anakin is number one, but there's context to that. He's also arrogant. Remember how Obi-Wan said his abilities have made him arrogant and everything, and yeah, his arrogance can hinder his power levels, Anakin. So there's context to that, obviously. But by Revenge of the Sith, like Anakin was not more powerful than Yoda, right? As proof in that play. Not even he was. No, he wasn't. Anakin had the potential to surpass Yoda, but at that moment in time, Revenge of the Sith, Anakin was still not the same level as Yoda. As Obi-Wan said, "Let me face Palpatine. I can't kill Anakin." And Yoda says, "You're not powerful enough to face Palpatine." That's how you know Anakin was not on the same level as Yoda. Obviously. Because Yoda knew Obi-Wan can't stand a chance against Palpatine. Palpatine will kill him. Whereas Yoda can hold his own against Palpatine, obviously. Some Sarah. Yeah. Is Anakin more powerful than Obi-Wan? Yes, he is. He has a higher midichlorian count than Obi-Wan, but I told you because he's stupid. He's a bit of a stupid fighter. He's a bit arrogant. He doesn't really think well. That's why he lost. Obi-Wan's a very smart fighter. Even though Anakin he's not as powerful as Anakin. He's very smart. He thinks carefully what he does and everything. Anakin is just stupid. He's arrogant. He's an aggressive fighter. He was stupid and arrogant. That's why he lost Obi-Wan. You underestimate my power. Don't try it. No, I'm saying, yeah. Obi-Wan used his own move against Anakin that he did to Darth Maul. That's why Anakin couldn't beat him there, obviously, right? I have the higher ground, right? Yeah. Obviously. I think Needs would agree. Yeah, I agree. Anakin has the highest potential, but there's context. Because of his arrogance, that could hinder his power levels. Yeah, his arrogance, his stupidity, it can hinder his power levels, obviously. Yeah. Obviously. Ivan, who's the most powerful Jedi according to the Star Wars? It's Luke and Yoda. Luke and Yoda are the two most powerful Jedis in history, obviously. But had Anakin not went to the dark side, Anakin would have been the most powerful Jedi by far. He would have been number one. But because he went to the dark side, that changed things, obviously. But Luke Skywalker and Yoda are like the two most powerful Jedis in history. Luke, I'm not surprised because Luke has the genes of Anakin, right? Hence why it would make sense why he would become the most powerful Jedi. Him and Yoda are like the two most powerful Jedis. Yeah. Obviously. Yeah, but I saw the originals. I just don't see Luke being number one. Yeah, because the originals was made in the 70s and the 80s. That's why the technology was not that good, right? But when you saw Luke in Last Jedi, you saw the stuff he did. That was unheard of, right? When he ducked down and he went Luke is very powerful. He force projected himself there. He's very powerful, Luke. Just as powerful as Yoda, if not even more powerful. I believe him and Yoda are like about equal. Like once Luke grew in knowledge of the Jedi, obviously, he became equal with Yoda. Because him and Yoda are pretty much the most powerful Jedis ever to live. I think Needs will agree with me. Yeah, Ivan, it's Luke and Yoda. Yeah, Luke and Yoda are the most powerful Jedi. But Anakin would have been number one had he not went to the dark side, obviously, right? Because he went to the dark side. Yeah, and don't forget when Anakin went to the dark side, he was mostly machine, not man. And even him being Vader hindered his power levels. But even him being mostly machine, he was still very powerful as Vader. But had Anakin not been Vader, had Anakin not wore the mask and everything and the been part machine, and he would have been a human as a Sith, he would have been so powerful, man. He would have been very, very powerful. Very powerful, yeah. Thought we'll talk about Star Wars a little bit. Yeah. You know quite a bit of Star Wars. I do. I know quite a bit of Star Wars, but I don't know that much about Star Wars compared to like Neotus, right? Neotus knows everything about Star Wars. He's a Star Wars nerd. Yeah. Yeah, but Ivan, if Yoda's more powerful than Mace Windu, how come Mace Windu was able to beat Palpatine, but Yoda couldn't? There's context to that. What? When Yoda fought Palpatine, they fought on the stage. So Yoda was at a disadvantage. Was Mace Windu when he fought Palpatine, they fought on a steady ground. So Yoda was at a disadvantage when he was fighting Palpatine. Obviously. Whereas Mace Windu was on a steady ground. So Sarah? Obviously. And don't forget when Palpatine fought Yoda, obviously, Palpatine was going all out on Yoda, like throwing all these. You guys remember that? Yeah, Palpatine was using when Palpatine fought Mace Windu, he was a bit more steady. He wasn't using a bunch of force powers. They were just fighting steadily on a steady ground, obviously. With Yoda, they fought on the stage that was moving. So Yoda had a bit of a disadvantage, obviously. And Palpatine was also like throwing. Remember when he's like, I was saying he's like this. You remember that, guys? Yeah. Yoda was at a disadvantage there, obviously. Yeah. That's why Yoda couldn't beat Palpatine, but Mace Windu was able to beat Palpatine. That would be my answer. And then there's another deep answer I can give you. Yoda was never meant to defeat Palpatine. Anakin was meant to defeat Palpatine because he was meant to bring balance to the Force. You guys get that? That's why I believe Yoda couldn't defeat him, because he wasn't meant to defeat Palpatine. Anakin was meant to defeat Palpatine because he was meant to bring balance to the Force. But you only bring balance to the Force if you destroy the Emperor, right? That's why I like to go deep and blow your mind with it, guys. Yeah, and that's a good point, yeah. Because Anakin was meant to bring balance to the Force, that's why, another reason why Yoda couldn't beat Palpatine, because Anakin was meant to beat him, not Yoda. Because some fans will say, yeah, like, Mace Windu beat Palpatine, but Yoda couldn't beat Palpatine. That makes Mace Windu more powerful than Yoda. No, he's not. Mace Windu's not more powerful than Yoda. In lightsaber form, you can argue they're pretty equal, but Yoda far surpasses Mace Windu with the Force, right? Yeah. Obviously. Mace Windu is very powerful dude, but he's not on the same level as Yoda. Yoda's more powerful than Mace Windu, man. Like, did you see? Remember that scene when Palpatine was like he was possessed. He was tapped into the dark side. He kept taking, like, you know, and saying like. Remember that? Yeah. Yoda was dodging all of that, man. Like he was just taking like a bunch of the stages, right? He was just like throwing it at Yoda like this, and Yoda was able to dodge all that. In the end, he like slipped a little bit, but he dodged like 4. Just like constant, like he dodged all that, man. Yeah, that's how you know Yoda's very powerful. Very powerful. Yeah. Yo, Ivan, he is powerful. Yeah, like, did you see the way Palpatine was just like taking like the stages? You guys remember that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's just like you know, so that was funny, man. So I laugh every time when I see that, yeah. Yeah, he just kept taking like and Yoda dodged it all. In the end, he dodged it, but he slipped a little bit, obviously, and he took the stage and he threw it right back at Palpatine. Yeah, Yoda's very powerful. Yeah, obviously. Those are the reasons why I think Yoda lost to Palpatine, because I don't think he was meant to defeat him. And don't forget when Palpatine went all out. Palpatine went more all out Dark Force on Yoda than he did with Mace Windu, as you guys saw in the scene when he was just taking all the stages with the Force and tossing at Yoda. Yeah, he went like full on dark side Yoda, and Yoda was at a disadvantage because he wasn't on a steady ground. He was on like the stages, so he was at a disadvantage, right? Whereas Mace Windu fought him on a steady ground. And that's why he had a bit more advantage. That will be my answer to why Mace Windu was able to beat Palpatine and Yoda couldn't, because Yoda was at a disadvantage. They fought on the stage. The stages. That's a good answer. Yeah, that's my answer, obviously, right? To why Yoda couldn't beat Palpatine. I also think there's a deeper plot behind that. Yoda was not meant to defeat Palpatine. Anakin was, because Anakin was meant to bring balance to the Force. That's a prophecy, right? So that's I can go deep with that, right? Yeah. Obviously. Yeah. Because you notice in Attack of the Clones, when Yoda fought Count Dooku on steady ground, Yoda could have easily, I saw a few scenes, Yoda could have easily killed him. But he didn't kill him, obviously. Yoda was toying with Count Dooku on a steady ground, and he could have killed him, as you guys saw in the fight scene, right? But he didn't, obviously. Because he's very fast with his lightsaber. He's very, very fast. Obviously, Yoda could have killed Count Dooku on a steady ground. But because Palpatine's very powerful, obviously, him and Yoda are pretty much equal in power. But Yoda had a disadvantage because he fought him on the stage, a moving stage. So he's at a disadvantage, and you know what I'm saying? And Palpatine went all dark side on him, just like throwing all these stages at him. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? It was tougher for Yoda. He's on the stages. It was tougher for Yoda to beat him, obviously, right? That would be my answer. Yeah. Some Sarah. Yeah. Almost on here, guys. Yeah, I mean, that's how you know Anakin is the most powerful. Yeah, Anakin is the most powerful Jedi ever. In terms of potential, nobody's on Anakin's potential. There's a reason why when Anakin went to the dark side, he became the most powerful Sith ever. Darth Vader's number one, more powerful than Darth Maul, all those guys. And had he went to the light, stay at the light side, Anakin would have surpassed Yoda and Mace Windu. He would have been number one in terms of his potential. Obviously, but I told you his arrogance and his stupidity could hinder his power levels. Because Anakin is not a smart fighter. He's a bit of a stupid fighter. He's very aggressive, but he doesn't really think well. He's arrogant. That's why he lost to Obi-Wan, because he's a bit of a stupid, arrogant fighter. He doesn't think. Yeah. Samsara. Yeah. As in Phantom Menace, they said Anakin has a higher midichlorian count than Yoda, which means his potential is bigger than Yoda's. Anakin's, it's huge. Obviously. Why do you think the Jedi didn't grant Anakin the rank of master? I think it's because of his arrogance and his stubbornness. He's arrogant. He's stubborn. He doesn't listen. Yeah, he's an arrogant person. That's why, like, yeah, you're not ready yet, Anakin. You have much to learn. You're too arrogant, and you're stubborn. You have much to learn. He's an arrogant person, Anakin. Yeah, he's arrogant. Yeah, and stubborn, right? Yeah. Ivan, who's your favorite Star Wars character? Anakin Skywalker is my favorite Star Wars character. Anakin is the main character of the Star Wars story, right? It's all about him, right? It's Anakin is pretty much the main character, yeah, of the story. Obviously. Is Obi-Wan powerful? I mean, yeah, Obi-Wan, according to the books and everything, Obi-Wan is also very powerful too, but he's not Anakin, right? Anakin is on another level than Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan's also a powerful Jedi too. He's powerful, obviously. Like, he beat Darth Maul as an apprentice. He's powerful too, but he's not Anakin, right? He doesn't have the potential Anakin has, obviously. Yeah. 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 Ivan, would Prime Luke beat Palpatine? Ooh, that'd be a good one. It'd be like an equal battle, obviously. Prime Luke can hold his own against Palpatine, obviously. Like the Luke in Last Jedi can hold his own against Palpatine, right? As Luke was very powerful in his prime, in his older years, right? Luke became the most powerful. Luke and Yoda became the most powerful Jedi's ever, obviously. But I know why Luke became the most powerful Jedi, because he had Anakin's DNA. So he probably had the midichlorian counts and all that stuff. That's why he was able to be so powerful. But Luke pretty much was Luke was what Anakin should have been, right? Like, Luke never went to the dark side. He became a Jedi and he went to the light side. He was what Anakin should have been. Luke was Anakin. He had the potential and everything, but he went to the dark side. He was stupid and arrogant, obviously. Yeah. Some Sarah. I told you, I think Anakin, if Anakin didn't go to the dark side, Anakin would have been the most powerful Jedi ever. Yeah. Yeah. Remember in Attack of the Clones, I want to be the most powerful Jedi ever. I want to be able to stop people from dying. And Anakin would have been the most powerful Jedi ever, but because that's how you know he's arrogant. You know what I'm saying? Obi-Wan, he's jealous. He's holding me back. Yeah. Obviously. You know what I'm saying? Anakin would have been the most powerful Jedi ever had he not went to the dark side. He would have surpassed Mace Windu. He would have surpassed Yoda. He would have been the most powerful Jedi ever because he has the highest midichlorian count, which means his potential is pretty much unlimited, right? His potential, the sky's the limit for him. But his arrogance can hinder his power levels. That's the thing about Anakin. You have to keep that in context, right? Yeah. Some Sarah. Yeah. Remember, Padme, she's like, you're not all powerful, and he's like, well, I should be. Someday I will be. You know what I'm saying? I'll be able to stop people from dying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But Anakin would have become all powerful had he not went to the dark side. But he got duped by Palpatine, man. Yeah. Obviously. Instead of Anakin going to Palpatine, he should have talked to Obi-Wan or the Jedi Council. They would have helped him, man, about Padme and everything. Okay, I'm so I have to make a confession. I married Padme and I need your help. I've had premonitions of her dying, and the council would have helped him. They would have helped Anakin, obviously. Yeah, but he went to Palpatine, who was the devil, and Palpatine deceived him into thinking that he could unlock his powers. Obviously, he could have unlocked his powers, but like the whole thing was set up for Anakin to just be his apprentice. He didn't care about Padme, Palpatine, as what? Palpatine's evil, man. He's a devil, yeah. There's no good in him. He's evil, that guy. Yeah, he's evil. So, yeah, evil Palpatine. Sarah? That's my point, yeah. He's evil Palpatine. Yeah. Why do you think there's hope for Star Wars? There is. If Mandalorian Grogu is a good movie and the Ryan Gosling movie is good and the Rey trilogy is good, if they make that, then Star Wars could bounce back, but they still have a lot of work to do, right? Yeah, that's my point. But Star Wars is not as messy is not as messy of a situation as Marvel. Because even though a lot of the fans didn't like the sequels, at least the sequels made money, right? Whereas the Marvel movies are continuously flopping after flop. I heard Fantastic Four did 18 million or something like that opening weekend. Fantastic Four will be lucky to make 600 million in the box office around there, 500 million in the box office. It will not be a $1 billion hit. It just won't. It will not be a $1 billion hit. It'll make maybe $600 million. Superman hit $500 million, guys, at the box office, which means, yeah, it could hit $800 million, guys. Yeah. Yeah, Brian, you think Superman has to make like $700 million to break even? John Campbell said $500 million. John Campbell is wrong. The math doesn't add up. Yeah, he's wrong. Because you also have the cuts. The theater chains take like 33%. I heard they take 50% of the cut. So they have to make a bit more to make a profit, Warner Bros., right? I don't think the break-even point is 500, like $7 million Superman. No, man. The break-even point is at least around that 700 million range. Obviously, because I heard marketing cost $100 to $150 million. And Superman was made for $225 million. So 225 plus, let's say 150 is what? That's 375 times 2. Yeah, man, the break-even point for Superman might be that, yeah, 750 to 800 million range. Obviously, it's not $500 million. John Campbell's math is off. It's off because the Hollywood companies, they take loans from the bank, right? And I know John Campbell, he did the 1.5 thing. My idea for the debt, I think makes more sense. If Warner Bros. Took a $225 million loan from the bank and a $150 million loan for marketing, obviously, they have to pay that back. So when you pay it back, you're still in a negative. You have to recoup it again, and that's your break even. And anything after that is profit. You guys see what I'm saying? Does that make more sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Obviously. So let's say they spent $225 on the movie plus $150 million in marketing. That's $375 million. So let's say they took a $375 million loan. But I don't know if they took a loan for the marketing, obviously. But in Hollywood, they take loans for their movies, man. They don't have all this money lying around. They take loans. Unless they didn't take a loan. If they didn't take a loan, then John Campio's numbers are pretty accurate. Maybe $600 million is break even around there. But if they took a loan, then it's more. They got to make like $700+ million just to break even. Because you have to pay back the bank and you have to recoup what you spent. And then once you recoup what you spent, now you broke even. And anything after that is profit. You guys see what I'm saying here? So 375 times 2 is 750. So the break-even point for Superman is like $750 million. If Warner Bros. Took a loan for their marketing budget and their movie budget. If they did not take a loan, then it's less than that, obviously. Yeah, the break-even point for Superman is probably around that $800 million around there. It's not 500. John Campea is way off with his math, man. It has to be more than $500. Obviously, I don't know if I'm right, David Zaza. I don't know how much you spent on that. I don't know who's right, me or John Campea. But I think the break-even point for Superman is probably around that 750. Well, no, because the theater chains take like 50% of that, so it's like, yeah. The break-even point for if they spent $150 million on Superman, obviously, for marketing, and $225 million for the budget, the break-even point is in that 800 something million range. It's not $500 million. No, man, it's $800 million range because the theaters also take a cut of the earnings. Don't forget that. And what? And if Warner Bros. Did take a loan, they have to pay back the loan. If they didn't take a loan, then it's not. I'm wrong. It's not at that 750 million range. It's around that 600 million range, around closer to John Campea's range. I don't know if they took a loan, but I heard in Hollywood, I don't know if this is true. I heard in Hollywood, all these big budget movies, the companies take loans. They take a line of credit from the bank, man. They take loans from the bank. As the Hollywood companies, they don't have billions of dollars lying around to fund all these movies, man. They take loans. Am I wrong, Rob? Yeah, Ivan, you're right. They take loans. Yeah, they take loans, man, in Hollywood. Not all the time, but for like the big budget movies, they take loans for their movies. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? They take loans. And that's why the break-even point for Superman is $700+ million, man. It's not $500 million. $700 million. Nah, man. It's at $700 million range. If Warner Bros. Did take a loan. If they didn't take a loan, then it's below $700 million. It's around that $600 million break-even point. I don't know. So I'm saying, I don't know. It just depends on the context, obviously. Yeah. Robert John, man, you know your shit. Yes, I do. I know my shit. I'm self-taught. You even know how to break out the profits. Yes, I do. It's very easy to break down the profits, right? Yeah. I told you, let's say it cost Warner Bros. $225 million to make Superman. They took that loan and they took another $150 million loan for marketing. That's $375 million. So they have to pay. They took the loan. They have to pay back the $375 million. But even though they pay back $375 million, they're still in a negative because that money went to the bank. Now they have to recoup another $375 million. So now the break-even point is $750 million. That's what I'm saying? And anything after that is not profit. And that's how you break down the math. I think that my way of breaking down the math is much more logical the way John Campea breaks it down with the 1.5 stuff. I don't think that's accurate. I think the way I calculate is accurate. It makes more sense because in Hollywood nowadays, most companies take loans for their budgets for their movies. Obviously, they take loans. So if they take loans, they have to pay back the loan. That's why you pretty much have to double. Yeah. Obviously. So Sarah. That's why I don't believe the Superman break-even point is around that $600 million range. I think it's around that 700 million range around there. I don't know. It just depends. If Warner Bros. Let's say Warner Bros. Took a loan for the movie, but they didn't take a loan for the marketing budget, then the break-even point of Superman is a 600 something million around there. So I'm saying. But John Campea believes it's around that $570 million. I don't think that's accurate. There's no way it's $570 million. Because don't forget the theater chains take a cut of the profits too. So there's no way the break-even point for Superman, if it's made for $225 million and $150 million marketing, the break-even point is $570 million. That math seems off. Because don't forget the theater chains are taking a cut of the earnings. Obviously. But there's context. If Warner Bros. Did not take a loan for the Superman movie, then John Campea's numbers are a bit more accurate. Around that, maybe. I think it's still a bit off. Maybe 640 million around their break-even point. 630 million break-even point. But if they took a loan, then the break-even point's at like $750 million for Superman. That's why I told you, if Superman can make $850 million, they made a little bit of profit. They make profit. Obviously. Some Sarah. Because what most people don't tell you, man, in Hollywood, for most movies to make money, man, they gotta really, really make bank. Like nowadays in Hollywood, $500 million is considered a failure because they're making movies for like $200 million now. The companies are expecting to make their 800 plus, 900 plus $1 million to make their profit, man. $500 million now doesn't cut it for movies now because the budgets have skyrocketed over the years in Hollywood. They're huge budgets. Yeah. What if Warner Bros. Didn't take a loan? If Warner Bros. Didn't take a loan, they just have to exceed what they spent, right? If you don't take a loan for your movies, you start making profit once you exceed your spending money. That's profit, obviously, if you don't take any loans. Obviously, but if you take loans, you have to pay back the loan. When you pay back the loan, you're still in a negative because that money went towards paying the bank, and now you have to recoup what you spent again, and now that's break even, and anything after that is profit, obviously. But you also have your marketing costs. Don't forget that. You also have to include the marketing money for that, right? That's a part of it. And that's why now Hollywood companies are expecting movies to make $800, $900 billion now. The watching movies because they spend so much money on the movies in Hollywood. It's crazy. Do you think Superman can hit $800 million? Well, it hit $500 million in what? About 2 weeks it hit $500 million. I think Superman can hit that $800 million. That's why I recommend all you guys around the world. This week again, this is the third week. We're in the third week now of Superman or the fourth week? This is the third week, I believe. All you guys go to the theaters around the world and go watch Superman. That way this thing is huge, man. And it makes $800 billion. It's a huge hit. Because I want this DC thing to succeed, Samsara. I want it to succeed, yeah. I want it to succeed. Yeah. Ivan, the way you break down the break-even point is much more, it makes more sense. It's much more simple to understand the way John Cameron breaks it down. Yeah, John Cameron breaks it down with the 1.5 stuff. But that's a bit confusing. No. Like, if they take a loan, they have to pay back the loan, and now they have to now recoup what they spent, and that's break-even. Samsara. So if you spent $200 million on a movie, and you spent $100 million marketing, that's $300 million. You took a loan for that, you have to pay back the $300 million. That's now, you're now at zero. You're in a negative, and you now have to make another $300 million to recoup what you spent. You got what I'm saying? That's break even. Even that makes sense. That's break. Yeah, that's break even. You pay back the bank, and you recoup what you spent. Now you broke even because you made the amount of money that you spent. And anything after that is now profit that you make. That's now profit. Does that make sense, guys? That's much more easier to understand the way John Cameron breaks it down with a 1.5 times 1.5 stuff. That's a bit more complicated and confusing for me. Don't hate him, yeah. Samsara? But if you don't take a loan, you just have to exceed the amount of money that you spent. That's what I'm saying. So let's say you spend $300 million on a movie, and you didn't take a loan, you just have to make more than $300 million to be profitable, and you're not. So if you spend $300 million on a movie and you make $400 million, you made $100 million in profit because you didn't have to pay back any loans, obviously. But if you have overhead costs, you might make maybe $60 million in profit because you have additional costs. Don't forget that, right? You have something called overhead costs, obviously. That makes sense, yeah. John Raw, hi man, you know your shit. Yeah, I know my shit, guys. I know my shit. So sorry. And that's why I believe Kevin Feige is out of Marvel once his contract's done, man. Because the DC thing has potential to be huge. If Superman makes $1 billion, which it could, it made $500 million in about 2 weeks. If Superman can hit that $800 billion, and Supergirl hits easy $1 billion, and Brave and the Bold want to do their easy $1.3 billion, I think Kevin Feige's out of there. I don't think he's staying on Marvel. I think Warner Bros. Is going to throw him a lot of money, and he's jumping ship. Okay, I repair a little bit of damage. I'm going to cut my losses and get the fuck out of here, man. I can't fix the Marvel mess. I'd rather help build that DC thing and run the Warner Bros. Film division with Alan Warren. And he might jump ship. Yeah, like, I don't know if he will, but he might. You never know, right? It could happen, right? It could happen. That's my point. It could happen. Yeah. It could happen. Yeah, before I show this camera off here, Ivan, do not let Victoria Justice do like that, man. That whore is gonna keep fucking the guys behind your back. And it's when you get your girlfriend Ivan and she gives you hell, just ignore her. She's a crazy woman. Do not let that woman do you, man. After what she put you through in your life, Ivan. Do not let me do that, Ivan. Don't hate me, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, here's for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Peace out, guys. Stay tuned for my doubleheader later on in the afternoon.